I have no idea if I'm gonna keep this or not, but I haven't done a video in a really long time, and I'm not even sure. Oh, how lovely was that? Hey, say hello to my hand. I do it again. I'm looking at the wrong. Anyways, oh my goodness, where am I at? I'm not even sure where my last video was, where I left off. Um, I haven't done a video in a really long time. I know I just said that again, but it's been a long time. I haven't felt drawn to it, and that just keeps happening. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm sidetracked on something, but gosh, no. I'm pretty sure I made one after the campground. No, you know what? I remember doing one. I was up in Sayward. It might have been actually. Now that I think about it, that it was the day I left Sayward. I was living there for the winter, October, November. No, I was house pet sitting in October and November, and then December 1st, I got into the cabin in Sayward, and or January, February, March. April 1st, I moved back into my camper, my pickup truck camper back and I, because I had asked my work if I could stay there. I work for the trucking company, so it's a no-brainer, right? It's one of them things that I've always had a dream of, you know, because we have to work, Well, actually, I had that thought today, actually. I was like, I wouldn't want to, if I come back, I'd want to be a bird. Like earlier, look at where I am. I'm on North Quadra Island. Quadra Island is across from Campbell River, Vancouver Island. And I come over here all the time to make deliveries for my work to the stores and things. And I've never actually come over to explore. So I wanted to come and just spend a weekend over here. And the whole time, from the moment I came over, I just kept saying to myself in my head, talking to the universe, manifesting, whatever. I just want to find a peaceful place where there's nobody and it's quiet. And I did it. I had to I had to drive to the end of a log. I'm at the end of this. Look at that's the end of the logging road, and there was all these like not washout. They dig it out. They dig out in sections all the time for the water to run. I think, and but yeah, look at. I mean, it's just. I got to this point, and even though I'm on a logging road, I got to the end here, and I was just like, oh, that's a pretty good view. Every once in a while, a sailboat goes by, or a little motorboat, or whatever. Not a lot of boat traffic. It's pretty quiet out there. But, anyways, yeah, I don't know. Lots has happened. Really, I shift things all the time. I'm starting to realize more and more how I wouldn't say easy, but how interesting the universe works for us. I've talked about that I believe in manifestation and things like that before, and getting that what we desire when we focus our attention on it and stuff. But what's fascinating and can be like a roller coaster is sometimes you do get what you desire, what you wish for, but it doesn't always come the way you think it's going to come. That's for sure. Sometimes it takes you down certain roads that you're like, why am I on this road? But then you look back and you realize that you needed to go on that road to get to the next road, sort of thing. I don't know if that's even a good analogy. I have no idea, but I'll definitely explain a little bit more. Or I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about from my own personal. I'm gonna put my hood up because I mean, it's the middle of summer, and it's but it's been so hot and so dry on Vancouver Island here, that I'm now so used to the hot and the heat that as soon as the sun goes down, even though it's probably like 25 degrees Celsius, it's warm, but it is a little cooler by the ocean here. And anyways, and I have no hair. I have no hair. Oh my gosh. But I like having no hair. I save on shampoo. I haven't paid for a haircut in forever. Anyways, I was working at a trucking company for 6 months, and mostly while I was living in Sayward, and then even a little while when I moved to my work in my camper in April because it got warmer. But the crazy thing is I was working night shift, and it destroyed me. That's probably one of the reasons why I didn't do a video for so long, is that it literally destroyed me. No one really ever knew, because it's not like I'm going to tell everybody that this is crappy and I feel terrible and I'm de-energized and I've got no energy. It's just not, it's not who I am. Like, I realize everything's temporary. I knew from day one that I didn't like it and I wasn't going to stay in it. But I also kept going for 6 months in the night shift because I also knew that the timing, like I just knew that the timing wasn't right. But anyways, I occasionally, because of it, I would check Indeed, which is like a job bank thing, and check for jobs and things. And all of a sudden I kind of got the light bulb thing. Was I'm like, I've always wanted to be. I want to get my not always. I don't know where that came from. I haven't always wanted to be, but the last few years I've been thinking about becoming a pilot, just for flying small planes and stuff or whatever. And so I thought, well, what better thing to do? Because all of a sudden I saw a couple of job ads for. One was an aircraft groomer, and one was to work at the airport as the security, like the person that stands or sits there when you get checked. Your bags go through the x-ray thing, and they check the people as they go through, where you got to empty your pockets and all that stuff or whatever. And I had applied to both, and actually both went really well. I had great interviews, and I was in the final stage of both of them, and I kind of had to choose, right? And I was like, so I actually had to do a little like soul searching, as far as like, could I try and picture myself, right? And I'm like, I am not a security guy. Like, I'm not. I wouldn't like that at all. Like, I want to talk to people, because that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, you're going to talk to all these people. It's not like that. It's not like people come through the line and you're like, hey, so where are you from? What are you doing? How's it going? That's not how it's going to go down, right? So I'm like, it's not going to feel good. It's not going to be natural. It's going to be so businessy and just professional. And even though I am professional when I work, but not really. I mean, I am, but I get the job done, but I also like to talk and laugh and, talk and create relationships with people. That's the thing I realized. I wasn't going to be able to really, like, get to know any of these people. So I thought, and it's wearing a uniform and just, I don't know, it just wasn't my thing. So I went for the aircraft groomer job, and I thought, okay, this will be cool because I'll meet some pilots. It's right, near the airport. I'll be, sparked with seeing planes going up and down and stuff. Well, actually, that was pretty cool. And the airport where I was, near where I was, had an electric plane, one of the only electric planes or whatever. So that was kind of cool. But and helicopters coming and going and whatever. But the job itself was awful. I mean, I shouldn't say it was awful. It'd be great for somebody, but for me, I'm my whole life I've been a worker. Like a go, you know, you go to work, I just go. Like I'm a truck driver, operate machinery, blah blah blah, like just go, right? You know, like just, you know, you work your 8, 10 hours or whatever and just go. And and being outside, and usually I've always been, you know, out and about going to different deliveries and customers and things like that. And all of a sudden I was in this confined space in a small little hangar and just like scrubbing grease off the bottom of a plane and stuff. Like, I mean, the plane itself was kind of cool, and the like where it was for the fisheries. The company was a private company that worked for the fisheries and oceans, and they do surveillance. So it was pretty cool. They had like a giant camera and cameras and, you know, flashes, and they can act like X-ray ships and things like that and whatever. Anyways, it was pretty cool. Like the idea of all that is pretty cool. I mean, I'd want to be the guy flying the plane, probably, I guess, but to be honest, not really. Actually, no. It was like they were all in suits and, you know, like Top Gunny, and just it was the same thing. It was all like very, very, you know, serious and professional and blah blah blah. And I just want to be like a bush pilot, like a guy that, like, you know, just lands out in the middle of nowhere on water or something, and just, you know, lets a bunch of dudes off fishing or something, or, you know, or doing the mail run where you go up into the islands where the only way anything comes is by plane, and everybody's excited to see you. And you know, all the people from the town come out to say hello. The plane's here. The plane's here. That's what I want to do. You know, just easy peasy. Wear your track pants. Like, I just want to wear my track pants. Look, yeah, and my flip flops or whatever. Flip flops? Flip flops are the ones with the thing that go through the toes, right? Yeah, they're not. They're just sandals, I guess. Honestly, see, like, you know what's crazy? I met a woman recently, and I don't know. I think I was on the online dating, and really, to be honest, the online dating thing is terrible for somebody like me. It's like, I don't know. It's so messy. It's just, it's not good. But anyways, I met this one, and, you know, she loved camping, so we went camping a couple of times. And but it was crazy because, you know, I recently actually had to just like tell her I didn't want to see her anymore. Like, not, we weren't dating or anything. We were just actually only hung out a couple of times and like went camping or whatever, just as friends to talk and get to know each other or whatever. But the crazy thing was is that I had told her that I used to be an alcoholic, and that I didn't drink anymore, and that it's been years. And we were camping, and this one time she was like, don't you want to have a beer?" And I'm like, "No." Uh, she's like, "Well, isn't that what men do to relax?" And I'm like, "No." Like, anyways, I think I was sharing that because I was just laughing like crazy right before I started telling that. And it's like, again, I have such a good time completely sober. I've never been happier. I've never felt better. And I laugh more than I ever have, and all day long, not just when you know, got a bunch of drinks in you and everything's funny, and that's the only time. Like, oh my gosh. Never mind. And lately I've been noticing people like I went to a winery today just because I came onto Quadra Island, and my whole thing was to just, it's not, I mean, it's a big island, but it's not huge. Like, I mean, I don't know the size of it, but it's like, it takes like, I don't know, it only takes like an hour to drive from one end to the next or whatever. Mind you, I can't, you know, the timing, who knows really, because at some point you just get to logging roads and you got to slow right down. So, but I'm basically at the top now, and yeah. Anyways, I was roaming around in the south part. I knew eventually I wanted to go to the north because there's really nobody up here. It's quite, it's not populated. Everybody's in the south part of the island. But I also wanted to roam around the whole island just to kind of explore and see what was here. And so I ended up at this winery, which was beautiful. There had these gorgeous gardens, but it was just interesting because there was a couple of people that were there, and they were wine testing, and then I met the owners, and I could tell they were drinkers. Like, I could just tell that they were drinkers. Like, I guess I just recognized like certain, and when I say drinkers, I mean like it I could, I mean, it's not like they were drunk, but I just could see characteristics that I've seen in people in the past that were drinkers. So yeah, I'm trying to say that in a way that it doesn't make me sound like I'm like judgmental or like stereotypical or anything like that. And I'm not even sure where I'm going with that. It was just interesting because I could see that, like, it was a lady that owned the place, and I could just tell that she was just like, you could just tell, even though she wasn't drunk, you could tell that the alcohol is a part of her life and that it has affected, I don't know, she just wasn't like really present, and I know that doesn't always mean it's just somebody that drinks a lot, but I could tell there was just, yeah, you could see it in the face, and just, I don't know, sometimes you can just tell that somebody's a drinker. And of course, you own a winery. I mean, chances are you either own it because, well, I'm sure there's different reasons why you would own a winery, but anyways, I just thought that was weird that, you know, that was one of the reasons why I let her go, was just, who says that after being told that someone used to be an alcoholic? And yeah, anyways, I'm not gonna keep going on about that. That's weird. But back to the job thing. So here's the funny thing. So I quit my job, right? I go to the airport and the aircraft groomer job for a week and a half. And a week and a half in, I was like sitting underneath the plane on the last day, and I'm just like, I knew the whole day. I knew, like, the whole day I was like, this is my last day. This is my freaking last day. Like, I'm done. I can't. This is terrible. You know, it was funny because I didn't even care that I didn't have another job. Like, I mean, that's the thing. So many people put themselves in the position where they need to be working every single day that they're screwed if they, like, they live paycheck to paycheck, and they, not that I'm rich and I got a lot of money, but I've also tried to design my life as best I can so that I'm not, struggling or strapped or whatever. That, and of course I have the confidence knowing that, not like the very next day, but I'm sure within a week or two I could have got another job that, even if it was temporary, like, I mean, I'm confident enough. I'm comfortable going and knocking on doors and, like, pounding out a bunch of resumes. Like, I'm a go-getter. If you're somebody that's an action taker and a go-getter, you're going to get things done. You're going to take care of business. The one gripe I hear all the time in Canada is that, one of the reasons why we have so many immigrants come here is, part of the reason is the Canadians themselves don't want to work, and they abuse the systems and things like that. Like, that's another thing I'll never understand. The people that just can sleep at night. That there's so many people I know that are out there that just abuse the system. Like, if I need some time off from work, I just tell them. Like, I'm just like, hey, I need next Monday off. Like, I mean, if I was, I don't really get sick, but if I was really sick, that's a different story. And I'm not. Those aren't people that abuse the system if they're genuinely sick. But there's just so many people out there that just abuse the system. Like, anyways, it's kind of sad. I don't even know why I'm talking about that. That's not even pleasant at all. Look at the mountains over there. Even look at them. Wow. Hey guys, how cool. Honestly, I wanted to actually. I didn't get exactly what I manifested for today because I was like, just put me. I kind of did, and that's another thing I realized. I gotta be more specific when I manifest stuff. Like when I ask for things, like because driving out here all day, I was saying, okay, just get me to a peaceful place where there's nobody and it's quiet, and I got that. But I also was asking to be near, I think I said near water. Well, I am near water, even though it's kind of like way down there's no trail to get to the ocean there. So, like, I'll show you. It's, yeah, like it's way down there. it's, it's way down there, and it's like, it's all logged, right? It's not pretty, but so I guess maybe I wasn't specific enough, is what I'm thinking. Look, it's gonna be the sunset's on the other side, so I can't see the sunset. But guess what? I'm gonna get a great sunrise in the morning, right here. Beautiful sunrise. Oh my gosh, the sunrises here are amazing. But anyways, that was I'm not done my story because it gets better. So I literally just quit my job that day, and I was like, I don't care. I'll find something else, right? So I started looking online that day or that night or whatever, and I saw concrete ready mix, like a cement truck driver. They were in Campbell River was hiring, and I did that for like 13 years. So I literally left my job the day I quit and just drove. I contacted the company, and they knew I was coming, and I went and I dropped off a resume, and I talked to the owners, or the owner, one of them, and they were like, great, when can you, they were going to have me in the next couple of days to do a drive test, and just so that looked promising. And of course, perfect timing, because it would have been, anyways, it would have been like, I think May or June or something like that, right? So that's like prime beginning of the season to be busy for that business, right? Because wintertime's usually slower. And I fully intend to take the winter off anyways and go, like, I don't know exactly where I'm gonna go. That's another part of I haven't shared, another story. But so the comical thing was, so I kind of lined that up. They said, okay, we'll call you in the next day or two, and we'll get you in for a test drive, which they didn't ended up calling me. But the next morning, I was like, oh, I left my work, the one I was working the night shift, I left on such amazing terms, because that's the smartest thing you could ever do. Why would you? And I actually had left a bunch of stuff there because I was living in my camper, and I had stored a few things in the back of the company, and I even left some stuff in my cooler. And they have a giant cooler and freezer there. That's what the business is, right? So I had actually left some food. So I went there in the morning, the next morning, and I was like, oh, hey, just how's it going, guys? Just grabbing some stuff or whatever. And the boss's son that was there, he's like the manager, and he was like, so what's going on? How's things? And I'm like, oh man, I said I couldn't do it. It was awful. I quit already. And he's like, what? He's like, can you work tomorrow? I'm like, yes, I can actually. And he's like, well, and you could come back. He's like, we got an opening on the day shift now if you want. We had to kind of rearrange some things and let a guy go, so we've got a spot open. And I'm like, oh. I said, well, let me think about it. That's the thing. I didn't even hesitate. I was like, well, we can talk. I said, I'll come in and I'll work tomorrow. And I said I'll I'll talk to you tomorrow, like after I'm done working or whatever, and we'll discuss it or something. I don't know. Like I said something like that, and he was like, "Oh, okay, okay." Well, his dad is the owner, and like half an hour later, I had just left, and I got a call from the owner, and he was like, "So, I hear you could come back. You're available." like, I'm like, "Yeah." So here's the wild thing, though, is that I I negotiated a higher wage because it was a relatively lower wage for um, for that industry, and um, it's not like I felt like I was entitled to it, but I just thought I'd try, and it worked. I was like, I told them about the ready mix and that they paid, X amount of dollars, and that, I said, I'd be happy to come back, especially working the day shift. I think I'll really enjoy that. But I said, can you meet me in the middle with the wage? And so he was like, yeah, well, what are you thinking? Anyways, I negotiated a better wage too. So, and you know what? Now I absolutely love my job. So that was what I was, and I love it. I love it. Like twice a week, I'm over on I got to go on a ferry, two ferries, go 2 islands over, deliver food to all these amazing little cafes and markets and things, and meeting all these super cool people. And it's physical. Half the time I'm like hand bombing stuff. I got to carry stuff into the back of these little stores and I love it. I love it. I put stuff in their freezer. I go right in the back of these businesses, and I'm creating relationships. I work during the day, sleep at night. I'm so happy. But that's the crazy thing, is that is what I desired all along. But the timing wasn't right, right? Like the timing wasn't right. Like the guy that I kind of took over for, they didn't get around to making these adjustments in the business for a spot for me, basically. So I see as everything is relevant. The 6 months of working at nighttime, it's already doesn't matter anyways, right? If you think about it, like it's already gone, it's over. It's everything that ever happens to you, like it's in the past. It's all, you can have a bunch of crap going on or whatever, and like have one good sleep and wake up the next day and just change it. Like, or not change it. I think what I'm trying to say is, if it's something that you think about, like so many people dwell in the past as far as they think about the things that have happened. Um, oh, yeah, I was going to bring up the dating. Okay. Well, recently I've been on some Asian dating apps because I like the women over there. I just do. And for many reasons, I'm not going to get into all of them, but they're simple, and I like them, and it's simple in a good way. The only thing they really care about is love. They don't need to go shopping. They don't need to buy a bunch of shit and have all kinds of material stuff, and like they're just happy to cook on a fire and laugh, and that's it. Like, I don't know. I resonate with that. And anyway, so I've been having a lot of conversations. Oh shit, man, I can't even remember where I was going with that. I need to go back to. Uh, oh, but I think that's what I was gonna say. Is so recently I've been having a lot of conversations because I had just gotten back on this app, and I've been having a lot of conversations with a lot of different women, and man, a lot of them are just stuck in the past, like their past relationships and their, past things that have happened, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, but you're already living a different life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're still in that relationship. So get up the next morning and lose it, right? I know it's easier said than done, but I guess that's why I was saying, like, that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like I say that to myself all the time. Well, it's over. Like the 6 months of suffering and hardly sleeping and just being a zombie for 6 months, it's over. It doesn't even matter. It's completely irrelevant. It's doesn't even exist in my mind because it's gone. Right? It's not affecting me. I think the importance is living in the now, right? I think the more that you practice living in the now, everything that happens that's yesterday even is gone. It doesn't matter. It's what's going on today and what's going on, well, it's really what's just going on right now in this moment and today. Look at the color of that. I can see it. Oh, see, it looks different in my phone. It looks orangey, right? Does that look orangey? It does. Oh my God, look at those freaking mountains. It looks different with your own eyes, right? You know how everybody says that, right? Your eyes see different than a picture, right? But because I'm looking at it there behind me and it's beautiful, but I turn around and I look. It's way better. It's way better. But anyways, yeah, just practice staying in the now. Like practice living in the moment. Because when you do, that's where your attention is. And when your attention is in the now, it's nowhere else. So you're not thinking about all the shit that has happened in the past because you're not even thinking about the past. You're thinking about the now. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. The more you practice these things, not just that, but everything, it just starts to become like you don't have to keep practicing it. It just becomes. It is just you. And so it's really cool. So, to anyone out there that's maybe struggling with something that they recognize they wish they didn't struggle with, don't get me wrong, I still struggle with shit. We all do, and we all will, and we always will. Like, it's just, but, being aware of it and, putting the time and the effort into trying to adjust it. I meet people all the time, actually, that I end up, resonating with as far as, you have a conversation. It was interesting, actually. One of my coworkers this morning said to me, he was talking about somebody in his life that, you know, was a little, disgruntled with him or upset with him or something like that. And he was just like, oh my gosh. But then he says, I understand that they have had some major traumas in life and things like that. And, but what was cool? And then I said to him, and then, well, because then, no, then he said, there's a lot of people that just will never have those major traumas. And then what was really cool with what he said was, he goes, actually, he goes, the people that haven't had major like traumas, like, watching somebody die or something like that. I don't know. That's just an example. But he's like, even the little minor traumas may seem to that person like the same extent as the person that had the major trauma, because they've never experienced a major trauma. Their little traumas seem the same as a major because that's all they know. And it was major to them because they've never experienced anything more. And I was like, when he said that, I was just like, that's good, man. That's what I said to him. I'm like, I said, you have just impressed the shit out of me. And I was like, thanks for saying that. Like I said, I am going to think about that today. Like, that was cool. That was so cool. I mean, I think about, like, I just never heard that exact thing. And I've heard things like that on different subjects and things, like, but it was just something cool that I heard today that, I don't, people, you don't always meet a lot of people. It's not the average, right? There's not the averages out there that you run into people that just are thinking like that or thinking deeper, right? Or just having a different understanding of things like that, right? um, the majority of people I meet, anyways, I meet some great ones, but the majorities are not. They're not there, you know. And yeah. Anyways, but so yeah. So the long of it is that that was the beginning of my story, was how I realized that we can everything's happening for us. I've said that a million times, but it's such a true thing. It's so crazy. It can be difficult to just believe that the things that are happening right now in this moment are happening for you. Like, even if it's a difficult, like, exactly, like the night shift and me being like, oh my God, but it needed to happen, because just to by like whatever the reason is, but it got me to where I now am like super happy. And I haven't brought it up to my company yet, but I don't feel like it's going to be a problem, because where I am in the line of work I am in the business I'm in, it's extremely busy spring, summer, and fall, and it's not near as busy in the winter. And a lot of the guys I remember last season were complaining about the hours, and they wanted more hours and things like that. So I actually feel like, if I was to ask, and which I'm going to take a leave and go for, I don't know exactly. I think I'll ask them, that I'll let them know I'm flexible, and whatever's a good time for them for me to go. But I'm kind of hoping, I'm kind of thinking November, December, and maybe come back in probably May, I would think. That, but if they're okay with this, I can be totally flexible. That's what's cool about it. I think it's a package that can work for both me and the company, right? Like I said, I'm gonna be doing a favor to some of those employees that they'll get my hours, so to speak, right? And I see that as a positive there. And the thing is I don't want to work all year round. Like, I don't. I want to go see. So again, I'm on these Asian dating apps, so who knows? There might be a lady that kind of catches my attention, and I'll go and meet her and hang out. I've I've thought about this. I was on dating apps here in Canada where I was, and it was awful. I didn't like it. I didn't like the conversations I was having. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel natural. It's just, for me, it's totally yuck. And, but I'm really enjoying the conversations I'm having with the ladies overseas. And I also think it's just unbelievable. I think it's like a fairy tale. I think it's just magical. I think there's something so special about, like, just for me, thinking about jumping on an airplane and flying across the world to meet a woman that, and even whatever, if nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it. But I just can't, if I can't think of anything cooler. That's just, I've always wanted a challenge. I've always thought to myself, I love a real challenge to get to. Actually, there was a time when I thought, when I was in Asia for 6 months and roaming around, I had a vision, I had a thought, that I thought, how cool would it be for me to be on the scooter and just show up in this little village in the middle of nowhere, and I meet a woman that I end up like having a life with or something. And yet she was just in this tiny little hole in the wall, and in this world. And there's something about that just like, I mean, I'm doing cartwheels inside just thinking about it. I think that's just so cool. Like, so, I mean, again, you never know. I mean, I could leave out, I could go down, I could tomorrow I could run into the love of my life right here in Canada on the island or something. Like, who the fuck knows? Nobody knows shit, right? Like, I want to have one of them crystal balls. I want to have a crystal ball. Does anybody have a crystal ball? Oh my god, or a time machine? Wouldn't a time machine be cool? Yeah, you could just like I'd go back and check out medieval times, and just check it out. Like, I mean, if it's like hairy and scary and shit, I'd just get back in and take off, right? But well, thanks for listening to me, guys. I think I'm done. I wasn't even gonna do a video because I kind of started it and I was like, oh my god, my energy's low and I'm not really feeling it, and but I think sometimes just like this one, I get going and then I start to think, right? And it's everything's processing and but yeah, look at oh, I didn't even show you I just bought a couple days ago this kayak. It's a Neki 10 foot, so I'm excited. And I've camped a couple times in my X Trail that I bought recently as well, about a month ago. And so I've got the seats fold right down flat, you know, and I bought a little piece of foam. I got it cut for the right size in there, and so I'm just gonna sleep in there. And I even just got a little tiny burner here, and I actually just finished cooking and eating. Cooked up a fish and some vegetables. So, excuse me. Oh my God, there you go, fish. Um, yeah. So now it's quite comical that how everything flows for you, and like I said, even when you think things aren't good, there's a reason why it's happening, and just remember it's temporary. Everything is temporary, and but also take action in your life, right? Like, I love the fact that I'm a very different human being. I used to dwell on things years ago when I was married and I was an alcoholic and things like that. I used to spend like weeks and weeks thinking about doing something, like just even like changing my address on my bank account, or like, I don't know, that's not even a good example, but like it just used to take me forever because my attention and my focus was on drinking and things like that, you know what I mean? And now I just take action. I take care of my life. Like, when I get up in the morning, if there's things that I need to do, I just do them, and I still find time to relax. It's crazy the amount of shit I get done in a day, and yet I don't ever feel rushed. I don't ever feel like I'm like doing too much. But at the same time, sometimes I sit down at the end of the day and go, holy shit, I just did like fucking 20 things today. Like, things. Like, I went and got something off Marketplace that I needed. I went and did this. I went and got that. Recently, I bought a motorcycle. I just and it happened really fast. Like, I went one day. I just decided that I wanted to get a motorcycle and wanted to get my motorcycle license. I didn't even have my license, so I just all in the same day I went and wrote my beginners for my bike license, and then I went from there and looked at the bike that I was, and I went right from there and bought it. Like, so all in one day, I got my license, and I got a bike, and then by that night, from the morning waking up going, I think I'd like to get a bike. At the end of the day, I had the license and the bike, and I was riding. But I have days like that all the time, and there's many of us out there that do. I'm not the only one. I realize that, but I'm just sharing that. It's incredible when you take action, because also things don't build up, right? Like, and even you need to talk to somebody about something, or something's bothering you with somebody. Don't let it linger. Just talk. Just do it. Get it done. Take action. Um, yeah. Anyway, same thing. I was like, it was literally like Wednesday of this week. Today's Saturday, by the way. It's, I don't know, August 2nd or something like that. 2025. If you need to know the year. Um, and so exactly, I was like, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, so just a couple of days ago, I was like, you know what? I really think I'd like to. I already had decided I wanted to go and roam around on Quadra Island. So um, I was like, you know what? I want to get a kayak. I'm gonna end up going out and and I want to roam around some of these lakes on the island. There's a bunch of lakes on the island, right? And and then I started telling people about it too. And in the last couple of days, people were like, "Oh, go here, go here, go here, go there." I got so many places that people have told me to go. I can't even remember them all. But and so not only that, I was like, so like just yesterday or no, yeah, just a couple of days ago, I looked on Marketplace and there was one that I was like, oh, I know Necky is a good brand, and it was the same price as some of the cheaper no name ones or whatever, and I was like, 10 foot's perfect. That's exactly the length I was looking for, and so I went, had a great conversation with the guy. He gave me a bunch of tips where to go and things like that too, and everything he had was meticulous, and like told me anyways. I was like so happy it was perfect, and I got it, threw it up on my thing, tied it down, and then the next day I'm like, oh, I'm leaving tomorrow and I think my old fishing license is expired, so I just like quickly went online and got my license. So it's just things like that, guys, that it's wild. I'm probably talking to some of you, and you're all action takers. I know I don't have a lot of followers on YouTube. I think I'm gonna put this on YouTube. I don't have a lot of followers, but the funny thing is I know a few of yous, and um you're all action takers, so I'm really just actually talking to people that already do a bunch of shit. Like, some of my friends are sailing. They just sailed around Vancouver Island. Like, oh my God. I met them. They came to, and I knew they were coming, and oh my God, I gotta switch hands or something. I miss my little stick thing. Maybe I just gotta sit down. That's what I want to do. I want to sit. Yeah, I knew they were coming, and they showed up and anchored on Quadra Island across from Campbell River where I live, and I went and they invited me onto the boat for a night, and I slept on the boat, and oh man, they're just such amazing people too. I love spending time with people that I've met that are just, oh my God, just so amazing. They're just amazing. They're a young couple from the UK, and they're action takers too. It's so amazing. They're always having a new experience. But what really inspired me, and I'm not even at this level, I don't think. Like, they bought a sailboat. They've never sailed before. They learned a lot about it and just started doing it. And because you get into that community, they meet all kinds of other people that are sailing and get tips and things. But they have literally just gone around literally, I just saw their posts yesterday or the day before that they finished and completed the full lap around Vancouver Island. And I'm sure they learned a ton from it, and they're actually gonna go, like, I think they're going down into Mexico for the winter, and then from there they may go across the ocean, from what they say, to, I don't know, I forget what they're not even sure. But they'll come out on the other side somewhere, I don't know, Spain, or I forget. And I think if I'm free, I would love to I'm gonna fly out somewhere wherever they are, like, and just meet them on the boat, and like somewhere across the world, I think. But and then I've got friends that are, you guys will probably see this too, and they live in their camper van, and it's so amazing. They work when they need to work, and they just have created their life so that it fits with van life, and they're off roaming around over in Alaska right now, I think, or Yukon or something like that. But oh my God, these people are it's amazing, when you have people in your life. It inspires you too to be an action taker when you have action takers that you follow, or that are you're aware of, and that are in your life. So, and hey, that's another message too. I remember actually just talking to somebody the other day. I forget who it was, and it doesn't really matter, but I remember saying how important it was to surround yourself with the right kind of people, like the people that lift you up, the people that want you to thrive, the people that want you to be the best you can be, the people that, you know, love you and support you and understand, and just, you know, all of those beautiful things, right? Have those people in your life. And if you have people in your life that, you know, I think one of the things that most people struggle with is family. And that, I get that all the time. They're like, but it's my family. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, everyone, I've got a different outlook than, you know, for me, I don't really care, to be honest. Like, I just don't care. I shouldn't say I don't care. That sounds like such a terrible thing. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if it's family or somebody that's been a friend or a lifelong friend or whatever. If they just are toxic in your life, or I don't know. But again, you know, everybody has a different outlook. I get it. And, you know, but I always tell people, well, you know, maybe just take a look at how you can, like, balance that better then. Like, maybe limit your time more when you're with them or around them or whatever, right? Like, you can always make adjustments. Like, you don't have to just, like, always be with those kinds of people. Like, if they're family and they're toxic, look at me, I'm making it tight, like a little, like, Riding Hood. What's her name? Little Red Riding Hood. Except I'm green and I'm a man. Big man, Green Hood. Oh my God, I don't know. Anyways, yeah. Oh yeah, and then you know, when you get your beginner, your learner's motorcycle license, they give you a date, you know, which was like maybe a week and a half from that time that I wrote that. That's the first time that you can book like a road. There's different sections, or there's whatever. The next step after writing is a skills test, which is just in a parking lot, and you go around a bunch of cones, and it's not easy. That's the thing. Like, I bought a bike. I bought a 650 V-Strom, which is like, it's not huge and like the biggest kind of bike you can get, but it's also kind of heavy and a little bit big, and it's got like the side bags and the back thing and everything. So yeah, I realized that after I did pass it, so I went and I booked it, and I got in that same week, and it was pretty cool because, and that's another cool thing. I was like, they had one appointment before I wanted to go down and visit my daughter, which was 5 hours away, and it was going to be a nice weekend, and I wanted to drive the motorcycle all the way down 5 hours to visit her, and also some friends, where I was a campground host last year. And so I was like, how can I, you know, so I booked the appointment without even checking with my work, right? And then the next morning I was like, can I have